Good afternoon, Conscious Crew. Good afternoon. It is your favorite breakdown commentator, CTV. Welcome to another riveting episode of the Consciouztv platform, and happy Monday. Hope you guys have had a wonderful Monday. I'm going to try not to keep you guys long. There is a lot going on this Monday, girls, so it's going to be one of those type of content creating days. Before we get into it, go ahead and run those likes all the way up. You guys know I pretty much took the weekend off, so we're kind of probably out of the algorithm just a little bit. So I'm going to need the haters to hate a little bit harder, okay? Get my name up in lights, bitch. Okay, I'm going to need all of that so I can have time off. You know, you need your haters to keep the seat warm for when you're not on here, okay? So that everything could be sustained in the fluid, baby. Because the way my peace of mind be set up these days, y'all already can see, girl. Sometimes I'm gonna be up here all day, 2 times a week, and then sometimes y'all ain't gonna see me for 7 days like the bitch in the ring, girl. 7 days. 7 days. All right. But we're here today. Run those likes up. You guys know that thumbing up the video not only helps with YouTube's algorithm, but more importantly, it triggers up YouTube's notification system. So when you are thumbing up the video, you are literally knocking on the digital door of another conscious crew member and telling them to get their black asses into the sanctuary. Also, make sure that you have all of your notification bells set to all so that you never miss a day or hour when the king is in fact kinging. You guys know that all donation information is in the description box below, as well as in the ticker. $ Consciouztv on Cash App and or PayPal.me/Consciouztv, Conscious spelled with the Z on the end. And last but not least, please share the stream out to wherever it is you have digital community, whether that be your YouTube community wall, your Snapchat, your MySpace, the dark side of Twitter, Tumblr, or your personal OF. I don't really give a damn where you in fact lay the link. Just let them whores know that we're loud, we're live, and we're certainly in color. And with no further ado, where's my intro? Let's go ahead and push on through.
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, what's going on, Conscious Crew? Let me go ahead and speak to y'all before we get into the things. Run those likes up. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. What is going on, Destiny? Hi, Ray. What's going on, Linda? Hey, TT. What's going on, Arinda? What's going on, Lumen? Hey, Ebony. Hey, Rumors and Tea. What's going on, Charity? What's going on, Morkey's mom? Hey, Boo. What's going on, Judge Shady? What's going on, my love, Judge Shady? Child, I heard you in AT2 done fell through. Am I hearing that correctly? Baby, these YouTube streets are always shady, baby. I'm sitting there like in love to you at AT2, child. What's going on, Marsha? What's going on, the binary? Hey, Kay, what's going on, Tiana? What's going on, you guys? Not AT. Ooh. Ah! Oh, my God. Light and love, light and love, light and love, light and love. What's going on, Keita? Hey, y'all. All right, you guys. Happy Monday. I'm not going to keep you guys long. I am only going to be. It's a lot going on, girl. It's a lot going on. I just saw some crazy news about Dwight from Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm going to put that in my hot topics. We got to talk about Monique and her son and all of the things that are going on. But right now, we're here to talk about powerful CEO Desiree Perez, girl. Okay, CEO of ROC Nation, wealthy, powerful businesswoman. Her husband also works for the sports department of ROC Nation. I didn't even know that ROC Nation had a damn sports department, okay? Baby, she done been Saud down to the ground by her daughter, Demoree Hadley, who is claiming that her mother used her wealth, her privilege, her white-skinnedness, baby, and used all of the corruption, baby, to put her away illegally for 2 weeks in a mental ward, girl. She is citing RICO and the entire nine, girl, claiming that her mother is a part of some grand corrupted enterprise that misappropriates and weaponizes their resources at will against said unsuspecting victims like herself. She's also spoken out via NBC News. I was not able to find the original PDF file to the complaint. I don't know why. I was all up and down Pacer trying to find this ish. I could not find it. However, in Pacer, I did find her mother's amended response, who is attempting to get the lawsuit dismissed, okay? Desiree Perez had put in her response and motion to dismiss text messages, etc. I have an interesting thought about this, okay? So we're going to get into all of the things. But right now, just to give you guys a formal introduction into what's taking place, let's move on over to the Jasmine brand. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to be showing all these damn pages. So let me go ahead and just pull up a thumbnail. Hold on, you guys want those likes up because we're working this morning, girl. If it's not one thing, it's a damn another. Okay? Courtesy of the Jasmine brand. ROC Nation CEO forced her daughter into a mental institute to break up her marriage, lawsuit claims. ROC Nation CEO Desiree Perez is being sued by her daughter, Demoree Hadley, who claims that her mother forced her into a mental institution to separate her from her husband. The lawsuit filed in Miami-Dade County says that Perez used Florida Baker Act and Marchman Act to have Hadley detained without cause. Hadley's attorney, Hilton Napoleon II, explains the situation began in Deanna Beach when Broward Sheriff deputies and a crisis team took Hadley into custody under the Baker's Act, which allows involuntary psychiatric evaluation if someone is considered a danger to themselves or to others. The hold was authorized by Dr. Daniel Barber after a phone consultation with Perez. Barber's attorney says, quote, after meeting with Ms. Hadley and speaking with her mental health provider and members of her family, the decision was made to initiate the Baker Act in order to ensure her safety. Failing to take appropriate action would have been a breach of Dr. Barber's ethical and professional obligations. Hadley tested negative for drugs but was held under the Marchman Act at Life Skills, South Florida until April 8th, where she was diagnosed with persistent depressive disorder. She disputes their findings. Hadley's lawsuit also claims Perez made false domestic violence accusations against her husband, Javon Hadley. Perez denies these claims, stating her actions were motivated by concern for her daughter's well-being. My God, today, you guys. So, Demoree sat down with NBC News and also gave them a nasty piece of an exclusive, girl. So, let me go ahead and let you guys listen to Demoree Hadley speak about this lawsuit against her mother, powerful CEO, Desiree Perez, girl. Where is my fear of use? You guys run those likes up. Let me go ahead and pull this up, girl. Check this out.
BC6 News.
Wait a minute, bitch. The website ain't websiting. Hold on, you guys. Hold on. Okay. They got all these ads, girl. They're paying the bills, and we paying them too, girl. Y'all run those likes up, up, up until they're absolutely stuck. Hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. I had such a peaceful weekend. My man allowed me to spend $1,700 of his money on hair. Let's pray that this hair comes out good, you guys, because lately the hair market ain't been hair marketing, girl, okay? I ain't been liking the cut, the colors, or the textures that are on the market, child. So I found me some hair. You know, it's some big, kinky, curly, coily, afro kinky hair. And I just hope that it's giving me what needs to be given, okay? Because I'm in this, like, whole kinky, yucky spirit, honey. Y'all know yucky and kinky always been my thing. I like hair that mimics our own, you know, because it comes off more natural. It's more blendable. It has passing privilege. But considering how much this hair costed and where it's coming from, honey, it better be serving the girls down to the bone, okay? So I'm going to be trying to pull off an old nasty 40 inches of afro kinky curly hair. So we'll see how that goes. Check out Demoree Hadley. Speak about her motherfucking mother, Desiree Perez, girl, who she is suing for illegally having her ass put away.
She spent nearly 2 weeks in mental health institutions for no legitimate reason.
She claims in a recently filed lawsuit that it was orchestrated by her own mother and others who should have protected her, failed her.
NBC6 investigative reporter Amy Viteri has her story.
So legally, I can go home.
No, you cannot.
Why?
Because you're being Baker active.
Body camera video shows the moments Broward deputies encouraged Demoree Hadley to get into this pickup truck with people she says she didn't know.
I can't ride with you and you guys take me?
You're going to be in handcuffs, so dog's not going to be able to come?
I don't want to be handcuffed.
Okay.
Demoree says they took her to a hospital for a mental health evaluation after this doctor signed paperwork saying she was a risk to herself.
What he told me was, we received a call from your family that you tried to OD the night before.
A doctor she says she'd never met before. And according to Demoree, it's her own mother who's behind it. In this lawsuit, she claims her mother, Desiree Perez, used unlawful means to have Demoree falsely detained under Florida's Baker Act and Marchman Act.
So she's the CEO of ROC Nation, a company that she owns along with Sean Carter, the famous rapper Jay-Z.
The complaint alleges a conspiracy, saying Perez used her money, power, and influence to tear apart Demoree and her husband, Javon Hadley, and created an enterprise of individuals to effectuate her plot.
To essentially try to separate me from my husband and to falsely accuse him of domestic violence.
Wow.
Perez has repeatedly denied these allegations in court filings. A month before Demoree filed her complaint, we found her mother filed her own lawsuit against Demoree's husband, Javon. Citing evidence, Perez says he has abused her daughter for years, something the couple has denied in court records.
Wow, okay, so I didn't even know that. So Perez has sued her daughter's husband for DV and abuse. How does that type of a lawsuit work? Suing someone else for abusing someone else. Let me rewind that bike. Did I hear that correctly?
That lawsuit. The complaint alleges a conspiracy, saying Perez used her money, power, and influence to tear apart Demoree and her husband, Javon Hadley, and created an enterprise of individuals to effectuate her plot.
To essentially try to separate me from my husband and to falsely accuse him of domestic violence.
Perez has repeatedly denied these allegations in court filings. A month before Demoree filed her complaint, we found her mother filed her own lawsuit against Demoree's husband, Javon. Citing evidence, Perez says he has abused her daughter for years. The couple has denied in court records. In that lawsuit, Desiree Perez says she moved to Baker Act her daughter, fearing she was at risk of suicide and abusing prescription drugs.
I haven't.
Where it, MJ, send it to me. Where is it? Send it to me. Or put the link. No, you can't even put links in the chat. Send it to me if you can, like while I'm live. I would love to pull that up while I'm live. Send it to me at Consciouztv@gmail.com or send it to my DMs on Instagram. And if you can do it now, do that. It's Consciouztv. Moderators, can y'all put my email? It's my channel name at gmail.com. Consciouztv, which is spelled just how it is on the platform, at gmail.com. Please run me that.
Anything in mind.
Saying Perez used her money, power, and influence to tear apart Demoree and her husband, Javon Hadley, and created an enterprise of individuals to effectuate her plot.
To essentially try to separate me from my husband and to falsely accuse him of domestic violence.
Perez has repeatedly denied these allegations in court filings. A month before Demoree filed her complaint, we found her mother filed her own lawsuit against Demoree's husband, Javon. Citing evidence, Perez says he has abused her daughter for years, something the couple has denied in court records. In that lawsuit, Desiree Perez says she moved to Baker Act her daughter, fearing she was at risk of suicide and abusing prescription drugs.
I haven't seen anything in my entire 20 years of practicing law that it is so clear that someone did something wrong.
Attorney Hilton Napoleon is representing Demoree in the lawsuit, which claims Perez harassed the couple for years, including making unfounded claims to get Javon arrested on multiple occasions for battery and domestic violence, charges prosecutors did not pursue.
The state attorney's office wrote a 11-page scathing closeout memoranda, which basically said that her mother made false allegations to the police.
In this closeout memo, a prosecutor with the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office cites Demoree's lack of cooperation and raises concerns about some of the evidence and how it was obtained. The prosecutor also wrote Demoree was wrongfully Baker Acted last year, something her mother's attorney disputes in this letter, challenging many of the memo's other conclusions.
I have 3 different collateral sources of information that say that she's been acting psychotic, that she threatened to overdose yesterday.
Demoree's lawsuit alleges her mother conspired with prominent psychiatrist Dr. Daniel Bober, seen here in body camera video, and others to have Demoree committed for a mental health evaluation. Bober cites supporting evidence from her family and diagnosed Demoree with an unspecified psychosis. He ordered she be taken to Memorial Regional Hospital, where he is chief of psychiatry, and where results from drug tests taken upon admission were negative, according to records Demoree shared with us.
They told me your tox screens came out negative, and I go, I know. I don't do drugs.
In a statement, Dr. Bober's attorney said Demoree was placed under the Baker Act for 38 hours due to the potential risk of imminent harm she posed to herself, adding failing to take appropriate action would have been a breach of Dr. Bober's ethical and professional obligations. While Demoree was at Memorial, her mother further petitioned to have her transported to a different facility under Florida's Marchman Act, claiming again in court records that Demoree suffered from severe drug abuse. A judge granted that petition.
They ran the test. They knew that she had no drugs in her system and she was not abusing drugs. And the fact that you can't do anything about it is scary.
Demoree was sent to this treatment center in Deerfield Beach, where Dr. Bober serves as medical director.
Where are the people that are supposed to protect me from this happening?
According to her lawsuit, Demoree requested a hair follicle test at that facility called Life Skills, which detects drug use for at least the past 3 months, and which showed no drugs had been in Demoree. Demoree was held at Life Skills until April 8th. She shared discharge paperwork that lists a diagnosis of persistent depressive disorder, which she disputes. No medication was prescribed. Court records show Demoree was able to leave that day after her mother voluntarily dismissed the case. But Demoree says the damage has been done, and she feels a system designed to keep people safe failed to protect her.
Money, influence, and power should not be something that's used, right, or abused to hurt innocent people.
Perez has filed a motion to dismiss Demoree's complaint, asserting that the Baker Act and other legal proceedings she has undertaken were rooted in legitimate concern for her daughter's safety.
The Miami-Dade Attorney's Office tells us they stand by their memo. Memorial Healthcare says they can't speak about Demoree's case because of the pending lawsuit. We also contacted Life Skills South Florida and have not yet heard back. BSO told us the incident involving Demoree is now internally under review. Amy Viteri, NBC6 News.
Wow, you guys. So there's a lot of moving parts, you guys. And shout out to the street committee girl who is on it this morning. I love you guys so much. Wow. So we found out that Desiree had her daughter, Demoree Hadley, also institutionalized last year based upon concerns for her safety, etc., her not being well, as you guys also heard from the Jasmine brand and reiterated in this interview. Upon Demoree being institutionalized, she was drug tested. They found no drugs in her system. We also know that psychotic episodes and mental unwellness is not something that's always brought about by drugs. It can be brought about by stress, distress, undiagnosed mental illnesses, etc. So the fact that Demoree didn't have drugs in her system doesn't mean that she wasn't acting erratic or she wasn't acting suicidal. And based upon some of the text messages that her mother, powerful CEO of ROC Nation, Desiree Perez, submitted in her motion to have the lawsuit dismissed, it appears that Demoree definitely is a little bit on the cuckoo for Cocoa Puff side, at least when it comes to a man. Y'all know women can be high functioning, baby, in every part of their life. You put a man in their life, baby, will turn a bitch brain every which way, but damn loose shy. Okay? And so I don't know about Demoree's competency outside of a man, honey. But this situation where my man, honey, definitely was given very much so. My daughter, my hamburger, dangerous minds, girl. It was definitely given. Girl, I will unalive you, the kids, the pet dog, and we'll all go see the Father, Son, and the Holy Daughter on one single accord, girl. We will go to God as a family unit, girl. Okay, girl, dangerously in love, honey, crazy in love, baby. Every Beyonce compilation, child. All right, we gonna get into that. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and roll into that, y'all. Matter of fact, hold on, because y'all done seen me so much stuff, child. Y'all done seen me so much stuff, honey. Wait a minute, I gotta get all the tea situated, child. My boutique goddess just sent me some stuff. Let me pull this up. It's a lot going on, y'all, and to Demoree's point, you talk about wealth and power. Hey, there's a conversation there for sure. There's a conversation there for sure. All right. Now, you guys also heard in that NBC interview that Perez also sued the daughter's husband for DVing her daughter, etc. Of course, the daughter, who is, in my opinion, definitely stigmatized at the very least, is, of course, denying those claims. But there are people who are speaking out against Desiree, against ROC Nation. You guys also saw that some of the complaints that Desiree filed against Javon, Demoree's husband, were also speculative on the prosecutor's side. They wrote an affidavit claiming that, the evidence really wasn't suspicious. The evidence was weak. It was suspicious. It was raggedy, and that they pretty much are not going to proceed with pressing charges. So even this whole conversation around how powerful ROC Nation is, they wasn't powerful enough to get this damn girl institutionalized for a year. They weren't powerful enough to get the DA and prosecutors to press charges against Javon, etc. Even though the DA also said that a part of why they decided not to press charges is because the daughter was non-cooperative, okay? Which there's going to be some substance to that, as you guys are going to see. She is hell-bent on protecting her man, girl. All right? But shout out to T Goddess. What I'm saying is everything that I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. All right? someone named Blackbird0527. T Goddess, if you in the chat, boo, who is Black? Is this Demoree? Is this her Instagram account? Who is Blackbird0527? Who says, thank you to everyone supporting and seeing the abusive tactics Desiree, Roc Nation, and all their puppets on social media are doing to send fake evidence, altered photos, AI videos through fake pages to all my followers and friends, etc. I will not, and I will repeat, will not be silenced. You look crazy, not me or my husband. Okay, so this is Demoree speaking out. From shadow banning to reporting out pages to hiring a social media team to message everyone we know with fake evidence. We are not afraid of bullies. I would not be silenced. You and your team are the abusers. You started this and continue to harass us. You and your team are not God, in all caps, girl. My God, today. So Joe Budden, also the Joe Budden clip Twitter page posted, Hashan Campbell says he initially doubted the conspiracy theory that from people saying Roc Nation set up Tory Lanez. Oh my God. I'm not doing this with y'all today. I'm not doing this with y'all today, baby. What y'all not gonna do is be slapping conspiracies up in place where we have factual data, truth, and evidence to support why Tory Lanez is behind bars. I am not about to continue to mitigate a case where Tory was judged by a jury of his own peers. And if some of y'all have an issue, baby, with the fact that the prosecution did their job better than Tory's frail-ass legal team did, and that all 72 pieces of evidence against his ass convinced the judge from his apologies and everything else that he was guilty accordingly, baby, y'all gonna have to take that up with the criminal justice system, baby, because that's a wrap, okay? And, Hashan done probably took too many dicks to the mouth and too many bullets to the goddamn head, his own damn self, to be, of intellectually sound-mindedness. But I will say, to Hassan Campbell's point, two things can be true at once, you guys. You know what I've come to realize? I've come to realize that most energies, most things actually rest in a soft middle, meaning that there's typically good and there's typically bad with everything. There are some things that I'm sure, like any other corporation, Roc Nation is foul on. And this has been one hell of a year or two for Roc Nation, right? Everything from the Jane Doe lawsuit, which is crazy, against Jay-Z, to there's another lawsuit that involved Roc Nation and Jay-Z when it came to money laundering and swindling money and all of this and all of that. Grill. We know that Jay-Z and Roc Nation kind of have been headlining for all of the wrong reasons. There was all that drama with the Super Bowl and Lil Wayne. It seems as though something is tugging on the wig of Roc Nation, something tugging on the wicks on Jay-Z's head. I don't know whether this is karmic and the universe is calling out to Roc Nation and to the Jay-Z camp, girl, to clean it up, girl. Repentance, for the kingdom is at hand, for the pride comes before the fall. Or rather, the reality is Saturn has returned for Roc Nation and for Jay-Z, girl, because everybody gets to be tried and tested, okay? When your Saturn return, and yes, I'm speaking astrologically right now, baby, okay, you got to go through your rites of passage. You got to get crucified. You got to go through the public lynching. You got to go through the diversity. You got to be tried by fire. Okay, this happens every 3-4 quarters of your life. Okay, and so it may just be that time for Jay-Z astrologically. It may be that maybe Roc Nation's time astrologically to be tried and tested, or it may be a mercy call from the heavens. I don't know. Because you also know he got all that shit going on with that boy claiming that Jay-Z is his goddamn pappy girl, and the alleged son, Satterwhite, done claimed that he done been hoodwinked and bamboozled. His godmama done been fucked over, that Jay-Z and Alex Spiro tried to take the godmama's house and tied them up in all of these legalities and sued them and ripped up her business, all because they were trying to seek DNA confirmation that Jay-Z was in fact this man's father. So there's been lots and lots and lots, of course, claims against Roc Nation and Jay-Z. And once again, you know, I leave room to accept these things because hardly no business is of Christian moral value, honey. There's some fuckery and foolery, and there's some favor. So to Hashan Campbell's point, there are things that Jay-Z and Roc Nation get accused of that are baseless, and they're the victims in situations. And then there are things that they get held accountable for and accused of that there may be truth to. The issue with, though, some of the claims against Jay-Z is, aside from the Satterwhite situation, because I think that they brought paperwork and everything to kind of line up what they had been through with Jay-Z and this whole paternity test situation. Aside from that, none of the other claims by any of the other parties against Roc Nation and Jay-Z have given us anything of substance. You know, the Jane Doe shit fell through. The Super Bowl shit was shallow and superficial in any fucking way. And there just hasn't been a substantive blow or a substantive claim against Jay or his brand. Not a substantive one. I mean, even one of the other individuals who was kind of spearheading a negative narrative against Jay-Z for a long time, Damon Dash, is crashing and burning right now. Damon Dash is broke, bankrupt. He done been sued, child. He owes millions of dollars. He's owing millions in taxes. It's all type of shenanigans, you know. So Jay-Z continues to reach the promised land despite all these assaults on him, on what he's created. So until we get a substantive blow, until we get something of real blood, until we get a real injury, you know, it's something to think about. It's fun conspiratorial theory and thought, but somebody gonna have to land a punch on the bitch. Somebody gonna have to land an actual full-on punch on Jay-Z's ass and Roc Nation's ass. And this lawsuit may end up getting dismissed even regarding Desiree and her daughter Demoree. Anyway, it goes on to say, Hashan Campbell says that he initially doubted the conspiracy theory that from people saying Roc Nation set up Tory Lanez in the Megan Thee Stallion case, but a lawsuit filed by Desiree Perez's daughter has led him to reconsider his stance. Which, why would you reconsider your stance based upon a lawsuit? A lawsuit is an allegation. Do people even allow court proceedings to even happen now and be concluded before they make up their damn mind? How about nobody makes up their mind? How about you just follow a case, see how things play out, see what both parties throw up against the motherfucking wall, see what the end result is, and then come to a... How the fuck you gonna change your mind about shit that's purely accusational? But once again, Hashan done took too many dicks, too many Glocks, too many AK-47s to the head. Okay, so, you know, I got to give him that pass. Let me also see what my boo T-Goddess done sent me again. Let me see here. Y'all, it's a lot going on with this mess, child. Okay, let me pull up what T-Goddess just sent me. I think this is something happening within the shade rooms. And make sure that you guys follow my boo T, the Goddess, on Instagram, honey. Amazing blogger, keeps up with all the things, or the T. Follow her on Instagram. Okay, so this is I think this is going on Twitter. Thank you for sharing my story. Nikki would love to connect Barb through your thing. Okay, I don't know what the hell going on. At Shade Room, this is not posting about the lawsuit filed against the CEO of Roc Nation, Desiree, and the Tory new evidence PowerPoint on Megan, and we all know why. They don't want that issue with Roc Nation. They don't want to lose that money and get harassed, all right? So there are fans speaking out and claiming, girl, that Roc Nation got the blogs and the chokehold, girl. That the blogs are scared to touch the ish. They're scared to lose their money back, etc. Or maybe the blogs, you know, considering all things, that yes, honey, they may end up with a cease and desist if they don't speak and blog correctly. And or, you know, they're going to give it some time for some things to roll on out before they get to dropping motherfucking bombs and missiles. But I heard that Megan Thee Stallion also is sending out cease and desist and is holding these blogs accountable as well for the way they are reporting, girl. And to be honest, I ain't even mad at it because we in such a misinformation train out here that it's crazy. Now let's get to, because I done been sent the lawsuit by Desiree Perez against the daughter's husband, as well as my boo sent me the, let me see here, what is this? The Twitter video of Javon abusing Demoree. Oh my God, y'all, let's check this out. Okay, so this is a piece of alleged evidence, Grid. Desiree Perez might just be a concerned mother protecting her daughter. Hear all sides instead of spreading misinformation. Let's check this out. Oh, what? Wait, her husband is black? Demoree's husband is black? She got her, BBC, child. No wonder sure if they're losing her damn mind. Wow. I did not know her husband was black. Did y'all know that that lady's husband was black? Did y'all know that? Oh, Lord. Wait a minute. I can't even hear. So this is audio.
I'm asking you again. You think it's okay to wake up at 9 o'clock and call somebody at 9:30 for a fucking business call? You think that's okay? Look me in my eye and tell me that's okay.
Yeah, 30 minutes prior, yeah.
You're going to wake up at 9 o'clock and make a business call at 9:30.
Yes, I wouldn't do anything else. I would just literally go outside, take me out, and get back home.
Change my stuff to the 5%. I'll pay you what I want to pay you because you're going to be a 5% Demoree. Especially because I know I've been sick. I'm asking you again. You think it's okay to wake up at 9 o'clock and call somebody at 9:30 for a fucking business call? You think that's okay? Everything. Fuck it. Oh, my mama. You know your mama thinks you the dumbest motherfucker ever? No, let me out.
So this is an audio allegedly of Perez-Hadley's black ass husband berating her about texting someone in the early AMs. He's now telling her that her mother thinks she is a dummy, is slow as hell, has no respect for her, etc.
Look at what I'm talking to you. Look me in my eye. Look me in my eye when I'm talking to you. I'm talking. You
Wow. Okay, wait. So I need further context. We obviously have two other voices in the room. Is Desiree also present? Does anybody have a fuller context?
See the shit you do? That's what you do. That's what you do. No! What you think I'm gonna do? We got money on the line. What you think I'm gonna do? 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 I work hard for this. You doing Comcast on the fucking phone. What you think I'm gonna do? Man, shut up. I'm sorry. I told you I was gonna call your mama. Hello, I'm sorry, Mr. Perez. We had a business meeting. I told Demoree. Nobody, I'm just talking. Nobody did anything to nobody. I'm here having a conversation with her. We had a business meeting worth a lot of money. I'm telling her to call you to see if her decision was okay. The business meeting is due.
So it sounded like Desiree also was on the phone. She sounded like she was coming through on a speakerphone. Now, old soul misfit says that Demoree and Javon, her husband, were staying at her family's home when they started arguing. Her family intervened to break them up, and it seems that Desiree is on a device. I don't know whether she's on speakerphone, a tablet, a laptop, etc. She's Skyping in her performance, Skyping in her presence.
Bitch. Everybody wants what you. I'm telling her to call you to see if her decision was okay. The business meeting is due. Fucking retarded, bitch. Everybody want what you got. You don't even know it because you want what everybody else got. Stupid ass. You don't even see it. You fucking retarded bitch. Bet I made some sense tonight, though. Didn't I make some sense tonight? Talking to you.
Yes.
I'm never wrong either. Check my resume. Yo.
Yes.
This whole week, don't come in this room.
So he's kicking her out of the room now. He's upset about a business meeting that was worth a lot of money.
Fucking retarded bitch. Everybody.
Okay, so this seems to be all audio. Wow, that was a lot. That was a lot. So this is an audio recording of Demoree's husband berating her. It sounds like at some point he put his hands on her. I don't know whether he grabbed her or he grabbed her face to make her look at him. He kept saying, look at me when I'm talking to you. You can hear people rushing in. I don't think Desiree is actually there physically. They're at one of her family members' home. I don't know whether it's her grandparents or her aunts, her uncle, etc. It seems like Desiree was on a speakerphone when this was happening, more so than she was physically present. But this guy is completely irate and completely beside himself, even if there isn't any physical aggression going on. He's obviously being completely outrageous and abusive emotionally and mentally at that point. My God, today. Now, there is another piece of footage here. Looks like some type of surveillance footage. So let's check this out. This is a 33-second clip. It looks like she's at a personal gym. Oh, wow. So, oh, Jesus. Wow. So as you guys can see here, it looks like Demoree is, I don't know, a cleaning maybe. And her husband comes in and socks her in the face. Socks her in the face, my God, and pushes her into another room. Now, here's what's interesting, you guys. Let me ask you a question. Despite this audio, despite this footage, Demoree is claiming that this is all bullshit. Her mom has attempted to file charges against Demoree's husband. Prosecutors, the DA, decided not to press charges, mostly because Demoree has not been she wasn't cooperating with the investigation. They also found some of the evidence speculative. I'm now curious to know what that evidence is. This is what they apparently said in an affidavit, according to the NBC interview that Demoree did with the news outlet. This is a very interesting, seemingly convoluted situation. Now, mind you, as all of this is taking place, Demoree, is claiming that this is all fake news. Demoree is claiming that, this is deep fake AI, altered photos, that ROC Nation, her mother, etc., are conspiring against her in order to get, ahead of all of this. So she's calling cap on everything that we are seeing. Do you guys believe that what you guys just heard and saw was deep fake audio, was AI, even though, that would be purely opinion-based, right? Because we have no idea if, in fact, what we're hearing and seeing is AI. But Demoree is claiming that she's not being abused, etc. That this is all cap. What do you guys believe? Let's do a poll super quick. You guys thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Now, here's the thing. I don't expect her. Look, we all know how stigmatized people can be in relationships. So, on one hand, if she's a woman who's still desperately in love, look at how Cassie put up with Diddy, for years. She wasn't ready to speak until she was ready to speak. So we know that even if these things are actively happening in her toxic ass relationship, that as long as she's still in love and she wants to make it work, of course she's going to come to his defense. Of course she's going to, seemingly try to protect him. Of course she's not going to be honest about being abused. Lots of people don't. A lot of people who are in toxic relationships don't per se want to be public about what they're going through, etc., because they are either scared to advocate for themselves and or they are still actively trying to make their relationship work because they're hopeful about the situation. But then there's a side narrative going on in a alternate reality that's saying that ROC Nation is conspiratorial, that ROC Nation falsely puts people like Tory Lanez in prison, and that this is the ROC Nation PR machine doing what they are having to do to get their needs and their agenda accomplished. And in this particular situation, the CEO is having a situation going on with her daughter and is using her quote unquote power, her wealth, her influence in order to obstruct her daughter's relationship. All right. Which one do y'all think it is? I mean, AI, I mean, it's like somebody said it didn't sound like AI. I mean, but how does AI sound? You know? Especially when we don't really know how the husband sounds, do we? We don't really have a lot of audio of him, so we don't even know what to compare it to. Somebody said that ain't no damn AI. Okay, see? So, baby, this is crazy. All right, so let's continue on because we got a lot of moving parts, y'all. We got a lot of moving parts. This is crazy. The daughter calling Cap. Now, let's get to the mother's lawsuit. Then we're going to get to Demoree's lawsuit. Shout out to my boo for sending me the lawsuit from. Oh, okay. You have the original. Okay, you have the original Demoree versus every motherfucking body. Okay. Wow. Oh, we gotta get into this. Wow. Okay, so we have the original filing. I was trying to find that. Thank you so much, Boo. So let's get into this filing, child. So this is Demoree's filing. And if any of the street committee finds the lawsuit that Perez put on the daughter's husband, let me know. Because I would love to read that as well. Yes, it's a lot of moving parts in all of this, you guys. This is a lot. It's a lot. All right, so let's get into Demoree suing the hell out of her mother. Plaintiff, we already know, Defendant Jessica was a Florida State resident, Defendant Natalie was a resident. Okay, because she got a lot of John Does. It's a lot of motherfucking people she lined up, baby, in this whole thing. Let's get into the meats and the potatoes. The case gives meaning to the phrase, you wouldn't believe it until you see it. Desiree Perez is a former drug trafficker, confidential informant, and a convicted felon who is now the CEO of ROC Nation. Wow! Perez-Hadley is Desiree's biological daughter. Javon Hadley is Demoree's husband. Demoree met Javon while they attended Miami Palmetto Senior High School. Demoree and Javon have been together for the past 15 years and got married in 2024. This complaint will refer to them collectively as the Hadleys. For the past 2 years, Desiree has used her money, power, and influence to tear the Hadleys apart. Desiree created an enterprise of individuals to effectuate her plot and used unlawful means to have Javon falsely arrested on 3 different occasions and Demoree falsely detained under Florida Baker's Act and Marchment Act statutes. Okay, so here it is. She's once again refuting claims that her husband is violent, is abusive. She's claiming that any attempts that her mother made to restrain Javon through the legal system were false. She's practically calling her mother a Karen. Unfortunately, as detailed below, Desiree has a history of using illegal tactics to get her way, even if it requires wearing rubber gloves and providing false evidence and information to authorities. Wow, so here's a screenshot, seemingly, of her mother wearing gloves while she's reading and writing out a document. In addition to being CEO of ROC Nation, upon information and belief, Desiree is part owner of the company. ROC Nation was founded, it represents the National Football, She also has a team of attorneys and private investigators at her disposal. Remember those private investigators that pulled up on little Miss Jane Doe, baby, in her Alabama trailer park? Despite her current position, Desiree's background and discreet rise to prominence was highly unusual. Unfortunately, Desiree's past and her abandonment of Demoree is the root cause of the current friction between a mother and daughter. Their relationship is unfortunate, sad, and disheartening. More disappointing, their relationship could have been repaired through alternative means, but Desiree chooses to employ heavy-handed tactics instead. Desiree participated in federal drug trafficking activities in the 90s under her prior name, Desiree Renojo. Wow. And here is that amended indictment against her mother, case number and all. The sentencing is judicial officer. Original offense is conspiracy to distribute cocaine. All right, big pusher. Mama was a big pusher back in the 90s, babe. Oh, gangster bitch. Following Desiree's federal indictment and arrest, she was originally sentenced to 30 months imprisonment. However, Desiree became a confidential informant and provided information to federal law enforcement, which caused the government to file a motion eliminating her 30-month prison sentence. So as the streets would call it, the mother snitched and ratted out the big wigs and was able, girl, to get back to them streets. While engaged in narcotic trafficking activities, Desiree gave birth to Demoree in November of 94. Even after Demoree's birth, Desiree continued to engage in criminal conduct. For instance, local law enforcement arrested Desiree in April of 1996 for a slew of fraudulent criminal activity, including organized fraud, grand theft, and several counts of uttering a forged instrument. Wow, here's those case numbers here. Felony, felony, felony. My God, today. When Desiree got arrested on state court charges, she had already been sentenced to federal prison, but was still out on bond. Her surrender date got delayed to at least August 12th of 1996. As shown on her federal probation affidavit, Desiree later fled to New York while on probation and became a fugitive from justice. In March of 98, New York officials arrested Desiree for grand larceny, criminal use of drug paraphernalia, and criminal possession of a firearm. Desiree pled guilty in New York State Court, but was only sentenced to a conditional discharge, as you guys can see here. Desiree was eventually sentenced to 9 months imprisonment for violating federal probation, choosing a life of crime over motherhood. Desiree dumped her infant daughter, Demoree, on Demoree's maternal grandfather, Julio, and his longtime partner, Olga, okay, her grandparents. Growing up, Demoree referred to Julio as Abilo and Olga as Mammy, which Desiree despises to this day. Our mom, I don't know how the hell it's pronounced. In 2002, almost fresh out of prison, Desiree somehow became the owner of the 4040 Club in New York. Baby, this lawsuit is clearly designed to throw the entire goddamn palm tree and forest at Perez. Desiree has mostly remained in the greater New York City area since then and closed money, power, and influence at all costs. To the outside world, it appears that Desiree turned her life around and became a successful CEO, but secretly, Desiree continued to engage in acts exposing herself and others to both civil and criminal liability, which is a state prosecutor noted in her closeout memorandum relating to Javon's fraudulent arrest. Quote, the victim's mother called in a false 911 call in December, which is a crime in and of itself, and reported the victim was getting kidnapped. The victim's mother also petitioned to have the victim Marchman acted, and the victim was Baker acted. The witnesses under oath told ASA Subpoena and ASA Farrell that the victim does not do drugs or drink. The Marchman Act was voluntarily withdrawn in April 5th, the day the defendant was arrested. For case number here, the victim of April 16, 2024 testified under oath. As related to this lawsuit, Desiree conspired with others to illegally record the Hadleys in their bedroom, hacked Demoree's iPhone, and unlawfully detained the Hadleys on several occasions, which included concocting false evidence against them. Candidly, it is difficult to imagine that a mother will do the acts listed below to own her child, but the screenshots included in this complaint prove otherwise. Now, before we go any further, this is what's interesting. She says, she admits that there are recordings, but that they were illegally obtained and that she's been secretly recorded and has hacked into the phone, etc. So now, once again, girl, which one is it? Is it false evidence? Is it AI? You're calling cap. This is all bogus bullshit, fake news that are being spread of your husband assaulting you and being verbally abusive. Because in your lawsuit, you're also claiming that, well, there are recordings, there are things, but they were illegally obtained. Which one is it? Thank you so much, also. Thank you so much, boo. Candidly, it is difficult to imagine that a mother would do the acts listed below to her own child. But the screenshots included in this complaint prove otherwise. Desiree, at an unknown time, conspired with others to surreptitiously plant a camera into the Hadleys' bedroom without their knowledge, which existed since at least July 18th of 2022. Desiree literally admitted this fact in a frivolous lawsuit she filed against Javon, okay, which I just got sent here, you guys. We'll be reading all of that. Girl, we're working today, thanks to the street committee. In her complaint, Desiree even included a snapshot from the illegal recording device in the Hadley's bedroom, okay? Wow. In addition to the illegal camera, Desiree also planted a listening device. Here's that. Unbeknownst to the Hadleys, Desiree kept both recording devices in their bedroom for years, which is clearly illegal. The prosecutor in Javon's frivolous criminal battery case, which Desiree facilitated, even recognized the illegal act of recording the Hadleys in their bedroom. Quote, there is an audio recording of the September 11, 2023 incident. But wait, Demoree is saying there is no evidence. This is all cap. But now her own lawsuit and the thing she's even putting into her suit are acknowledging that there were incidents. Make it make sense. The recording is an illegal recording and even still inconclusive of a battery. The recording captures the defendant yelling at the victim, and it sounds like the victim says, quote, don't hurt me. In another illegal recording, the victim confides in a friend that the defendant grabbed her neck. This will not explain the redness on the check. I think it's supposed to say cheek, and it's not fully consistent with what the witness saw when they walked in. However, the victim's conversations with her friend is also part of a illegal recording and is further hearsay. All right. So now we're getting more clarity on why the prosecutors decided not to press charges. And it really was because they look at this information as partly subjective. And then the context is that, you know, these were illegal recordings submitted on someone else. You know, this is pretty much third-party information, and it's been illegally obtained. And I guess some of the initial data and evidence that Perez submitted to the police regarding these claims of abuse were also inconsistent with the recordings that were given to them, where she talks about being grabbed on her neck, but I guess they had pictures submitted via Perez of her daughter's cheeks being bruised or rosy. So the DA was just like, eh. And then the fact that Demoree was obviously not cooperative because she is, claiming that this is not true. But she also doesn't realize how she just completely fucked up her whole thing, because she just posted, as we saw, to her story, that this is all cap, this is deep fake AI bullshit, blah, 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 blah. But in her own lawsuit, she's putting excerpts that acknowledge that, yes, my husband has put his hands around my neck. He has abused me. Maybe in the particular claims that her mother was trying to raise against Javon to the police were inconsistent, but nonetheless, these were real life incidences. The mother just couldn't line it up specifically, on top of the fact that they really couldn't embark upon a real investigation and press charges because the daughter was wildly non-cooperative. So this complicated Desiree attempts to intervene on behalf of her daughter, who is simultaneously calling her mother a liar in all cap, but is at the same time acknowledging that she's been abused and that there have been incidents, but that the evidence regarding those incidents and abuse should be disregarded because they were obtained illegally. I had a feeling this is how this would play out. Desiree also hacked or directed her highly trained technical staff at ROC Nation to hack Demoree's iCloud account, giving Desiree unfettered access to Demoree's digital data, including text, photographs, and videos. Demoree has witnessed her mother direct her tech team at ROC Nation to infiltrate other people's digital data, including an instance where Desiree wanted to determine how a chart-topping artist's upcoming movie got leaked. Demoree first realized her mother hacked her iPhone on March 1st, 2024. On the day Javon and Demoree's friend Surgeon called Demoree after noticing that Demoree's cell phone and Apple Watch were pinging in New York. Demoree's Apple Watch also showed it was located at the 538 West 26th Street in New York. When Demoree checked her iCloud account on her phone, which she had in her hand in Miami, it showed that iPhone 2 on her account was pinging to ROC Nation's headquarters in New York. The problem is that Demoree only had one iPhone device attached to her iCloud account, the one she was literally holding in her hand. Not surprisingly, Desiree's office at ROC Nation is located at 540 West 26th Street, New York, New York. Google Maps shows that 538 West 26th Street, the location appearing on Demoree's iCloud account, and 540 West 26th Street, which is ROC Nation's headquarters, are literally part of the same building in New York. Demoree believes the iPhone 2 device in her iCloud account, which placed her location at ROC Nation in New York, was a device cloned by her mother's team. Again, Demoree has personally witnessed her mother order her team to clone a person's iPhone for her access. In Desiree's frivolous lawsuit recently filed against Javon, she somewhat admitted to hacking Demoree's phone. Desiree filed screenshots of text messages between Demoree and Javon, but failed to adequately explain how she acquired them. The prosecutor in Javon's case even noted the oddity of Desiree's inability to provide private conversations between Demoree and Javon that dated back to 2017. Quote, the victim is very concerned with the conduct of her family. The victim found a tracker in her luggage and believes she was followed to the SAO when she came in for her pre-file statement. When the victim came into the SAO, an attorney for the witnesses also appeared and inquired with the receptionist as to the whereabouts of the victim. The victim claims her family has hacked her iCloud account and accessed her private data and information. The victim's mother provided the state with a Google Drive of evidence which contained private conversations that the victim had with the defendant dating as far back as 2017. As explained below, Desiree used illegal bedroom recordings, stolen iCloud data, and other means during her conspiracy to fraudulently convince people that Demoree needed to be unlawfully committed to a mental health institution and drug rehab facility under Florida Baker's Act and Marchman Act statutes. She used the same information to get Javon falsely arrested. Desiree's first time threatening to commit wrongfully Demoree to a mental health institution occurred in September 14th of 2023, the day Desiree lured Demoree to her home in Pinecrest, Florida, under the false pretenses that Demoree's uncle needed to be taken to the hospital, which was untrue. Demoree rushed to her mother's home and was confronted by her mother for intervention. As seen below in the snippet from the police report, Desiree admitted to having an intervention for Demoree and that she hired a counselor named Victoria Hunter. Although Desiree told officers that Victoria Hunter is a therapist, Ms. Hunter has never been a licensed therapist in Florida. Desiree convinced Ms. Hunter to lie to the police and falsely claimed that she was a therapist. Demoree was not interested in her mother's intervention and demanded to leave. However, Desiree prevented Demoree from leaving by confiscating her dog. Desperate to leave, Demoree attempted to climb over her mother's security fence. Desiree pulled Demoree back and stated, I'm going to Baker Act you. If you stay with that Igor, I will have you committed. Jesus. Desiree's statement was not some veiled threat and later came to fruition as explained below. Demoree called 911 and requested police assistance. Desiree flaunted her power as the CEO of ROC Nation and claimed she had the Pinecrest police in her pocket. Pinecrest police officers arrived on scene and eventually forced Desiree to allow her daughter to leave. But due to her influence, the officers did not press charges against Desiree for false imprisonment. The same day Desiree showed up to Demoree's grandfather's home where the Hadleys were residing, Desiree confronted Javon and told him, quote, "I know everything that happens with you and Demoree. If you stay with her, you're going to get yourself unalive." Based upon Desiree's threats, the Hadleys moved out of Demoree's grandfather's home on October 1st, 2023, and into a home located in Homestead, Florida. In response, Desiree rented the house directly across the street from the Hadleys, and Homestead pointed a camera towards their home and ordered private investigators, many of whom were unlicensed, to stalk and harass the Hadleys. The investigators who stayed across from the Hadleys worked for CTS Research in New York City. CTS investigators followed the Hadleys 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Many times the CTS investigators followed the Hadleys at unsafe distances in their cars, causing the Hadleys to fear for their safety while driving. On one occasion, CTS investigator who was unlicensed had a GUN laying on the front seat while following Javon. Below is a camera used by Desiree's investigators. Okay, you can see here a camera mounted in a screen window. After her first plot failed, Desiree upped the stakes to have Demoree committed. Since January 2021, Demoree worked for a creative agency in Miami called Iconic Creative LLC. Of course, Iconic often worked events for Roc Nation and its artists. For 2.5 years, Demoree's salary at Iconic was approximately $65,000, and the company was in financial distress, a fact the owner shared with Demoree. So we're dealing with a lot. We are in a bad place. $45K. Yesterday, the photographer from Zion in New Orleans was not paid either. $14K. AJ has not been paid in months. But in October 2023, right after Desiree threatened to Baker Act Demoree if she did not leave Javon, Demoree received a salary increase from $65K to $125K. Upon information and belief, Desiree stepped in and helped resolve Iconic's financial problems with strings attached controlling Demoree. Demoree found it odd because she knew about the company's financial situation. She was also ecstatic about her pay increase. Of course, little did she know what was to come. Suddenly, Iconic began asking Demoree to stay late, work longer hours, and to frequently travel. While some of the demands made sense at the time because of the pay increase, Demoree did not realize that a nefarious plot was on the way, i.e. split up Demoree and Javon. On December 12th of 2023, Elizabeth Liz Fregella and Bajino Benny Fregella, the owners of Iconic, text Demoree stating that she was required to attend a meeting with the Nike Academy the following day, i.e. December 13th of 2023. Here is that text message. She says, "I'm confused. LOL. Oh, Phrygia." Benny says, CC. She says, sorry, I forgot. Liz Iconic says, "Hey, oh my God, I forgot to tell you, you have a Nike Academy call 11 a.m. tomorrow. They asked us to pick someone that could train the office. Sorry it's late. I just want to put it on your radar." Demoree found it odd that Liz and Benny told her to attend a Nike Academy meeting because the Nike Academy was revamping its workshops. When Demoree signed on to Zoom, only one person, Rachel Thomas, was at the training. Demoree found this to be odd because every other training meeting with the Nike Academy consisted of at least 20 people. Rachel Thomas signed into Zoom and identified herself as a representative from the Nike Academy. Rachel then began asking Demoree questions that were unrelated to work. Demoree, suspicious of Rachel's intent, asked Rachel if she could record the conversation. Rachel consented. Demoree recorded the conversation and took a screenshot of Rachel. Rachel proceeded to give Demoree a quasi-psychological evaluation without Demoree's approval or consent. Upon information and belief, Desiree conspired with Liz and Benny, the owners of Iconic, to have Demoree undergo a mental health evaluation with Rachel. After the training, Demoree asked for Rachel's Nike Academy profile. Rachel agreed to provide it, but did not do so immediately, probably because it had not been created. A few days later, Demoree received a fake link showing Rachel's false affiliation with the Nike Academy. Wow. Upon information and belief, Desiree and/or Liz and Benny asked someone to create the fraudulent website. The website was later deleted after Liz and Benny realized that Demoree was becoming suspicious. The website was later Liz and Benny required Demoree to attend 2 other training sessions with Rachel Thomas. The last one occurred right before Christmas. At the time, Demoree did not know Rachel's true identity. My God, today. It's a lot going on, y'all. I'm telling you. The gray area is always where the truth typically is. But in reality, Rachel Thomas was really a woman named Rachel Bernstein. Rachel Bernstein is a licensed marriage and family therapist from California who specializes in sexual cults and has a podcast on sexual cult recovery. So this woman who was hired by the owners of Iconic, which is a job that her mother practically got for her, were in cahoots with Desiree Perez, according to the daughter, and they pretty much raised her pay so that they could justify overworking her, and the overworking was supposed to help to pretty much distance Demoree from her husband Javon, who the mother did not like and felt was abusing her and not well for her. And then they would set up these fake psyop events once again to continue to create distance between Demoree and Javon by having her work out of town, etc. And this woman who was presented to her to be a representative on behalf of Nike was in fact not a Nike employee or affiliate, but a goddamn therapist who specializes in sexual assault and cults. Wow. Upon information and belief, this was just a ploy by Desiree to have Demoree improperly evaluated. Okay. Oh, and this whole Zoom meeting between Rachel and Demoree was actually another psyop that was actually a psychological evaluation, which is why, to Demoree's point, the questions she was asked were unrelated to the academy. And apparently this is all recorded. Suffice it to say, Rachel Bernstein was never associated with the Nike Academy when Demoree attended the training session. On December 26, 2023, less than a week after the 4 sessions with Rachel failed, Desiree reported to Miami-Dade police that Javon battered Demoree on January 16, 2022, almost 2 years prior. On December 29, 2023, officers respond to the Hadley's home to speak with Javon. Demoree answered the door and told the officers that nothing happened on January 16th of 2022 and directed the police to leave if they did not have a warrant. The next day, Desiree ordered a private investigator to follow the Hadleys to the Pinto Farms in Homestead, Florida. While the Hadleys were enjoining Pinto Farms with their nephews, Desiree falsely reported to 911 that Javon kidnapped Demoree and was holding her hostage. As shown at the screenshot below, Desiree's allegations were completely false. Demoree was hardly being abducted and was spending quality time with her soon-to-be husband and nephews. Ms. Perez also requested officers to respond on December 26, 2023, but the Hadleys were not home. The state of attorney's office documented Desiree's criminal act of falsely reporting a crime. In their closeout memorandum, the prosecutor said the victim's mother called in a false 911 call in December, which is a crime in and of itself, and reported the victim was getting kidnapped. The victim's mother also petitioned to have the victim Marchman act, and the victim was Baker acted. The witnesses under oath told ASA Subpoena and ASA Farrell that the victim does not do drugs or drink. The Marchman Act was voluntarily withdrawn April 5th, the day the defendant was arrested for case number there. The victim of April 16th, 2024, testified under oath. When the officers arrived on the scene, they quickly realized Desiree lied to the police, as recognized by the state attorney's office. However, Desiree has already conspired with high-ranking members of the police department and others to falsely arrest Javon for the January 2022 alleged battery. Although the prosecutor ultimately dropped the charges against Javon, he was embarrassed that the police arrested him in front of his nephews. Desiree avoided any charges for falsely reporting a kidnapping. Approximately 1 week after Javon was released on bond from his fraudulent arrest on December 30th of 2023, Iconic fired Demoree without explanation. Demoree's firing was bizarre because she had just received glowing reviews from Liz, which is in a message here on iMessage. Therefore, we put into the office and at home. We appreciate your loyalty and put all trust in you. You are one of the smartest young ladies I know. We depend on you, and you can ask Abe and Also, how I said, give it to Demoree. She will figure it out. We just need you right now more than ever. This will change, and we won't depend on you. But for now, we need you. We don't trust anyone. You are family. Upon information and belief, Desiree demanded that Liz and Benny fire Demoree. Again, Iconic has a large contract with Roc Nation and its artists, and upon information and belief, Desiree stepped in to help them financially. In addition to firing Demoree, Iconic refused to pay her for the week she had already worked in December 2023. Demoree was told that to receive payment for the week she worked, she had to sign what was essentially a gag order entitled separation of release, which precluded her from reporting Iconic's behavior to Nike. This was obviously illegal. Demoree had to threaten legal action to get paid for the time she had already worked. The children of Iconic's owners are athletes who also wanted to be represented by Roc Nation Sports. The same week, Desiree hired attorney Brett Skarks to improperly influenced Javon's misdemeanor battery case. On December 8th, 2024, Brett filed a notice of appearance purporting to represent Demoree when Desiree actually hired him for her own interest. To be clear, Demoree never hired Brett, nor has she ever talked to him. Nevertheless, Brett filed a fraudulent notice of appearance, which caused the prosecutor in Javon's case to reach out to him. Unfortunately, this was not the only occasion that Desiree hired lawyers who pretended as if they were representing Demoree, as explained below. At Desiree's direction, Brett tried to convince prosecutors to charge Javon with human trafficking, although there was no legal basis to do so. The excerpt below is taken from an email that Brett sent to the prosecutor in Javon's misdemeanor battery case. Quote, as a result of this arduous history of manipulation, I will be reaching out to the ASA Nicholas Chavez and or ASA Brenda Mezick, who is the chief of the human trafficking unit, to request they investigate and pursue felony charges against Mr. Hadley for human trafficking. At the very least, both have been copied. Wow. There was obviously no basis for anyone to pursue felony charges against Javon for human trafficking. Desiree was simply using her power, money, and influence to prevent the Hadleys from being together. Desiree even contacted the prosecutor directly using her Roc Nation business email. After the prosecutor told Desiree and Brett that she could not charge Javon, Desiree asked the prosecutor to improperly extend the case. Desiree wanted to keep Javon on edge. Excerpt from email, right, perhaps even postponing and saying they were investigating whatever they feel they can say so that he at the least stays on edge. Unfortunately, the prosecutors agreed to Desiree's demand for more time, which ultimately allowed her to continue to wreak havoc on the Hadleys. And Desiree did just that. On March 26th of 2024, after the intervention with Victoria Hunter and training with Rachel Bernstein felt, Desiree directed Natalie Addison, a Roc Nation employee, to confront Demoree's therapist, Dr. Luz Barrero, who Demoree was seeing for grief counseling after her aunt died. Natalie Anderson presented Dr. Mario with a fabricated audio recording of a woman screaming, "Don't grape me." At Desiree's direction, Ms. Henderson falsely claimed the recording was Javon graping Demoree. Demoree wanted Dr. Barrio to believe that Demoree had some type of mental health issue to capitalize on her threat to Baker Act Demoree. Since Dr. Barrio was intimately familiar with Demoree and had seen her on countless occasions, she knew that Demoree had never been a threat to herself or others, was not in danger, and did not meet the Baker Act criteria. Dr. Barrio refused to do Desiree's dirty work. After learning about Demoree's false Baker Act, as explained below, Dr. Barrio wrote a letter disputing Demoree's supposed need for treatment or hospitalization. Here's the excerpt from that. To whom it may concern, I've been working with Ms. Demoree Lopez since July of 2022, providing individual sessions throughout our therapeutic work. There has been no evidence of visual, auditory, or tactile hallucinations. She has consistently presented as intelligent and coherent. In addition, throughout our clinical work, I have not found reason to recommend hospitalization due to any suspected thought disorder. On March 27th of 2024, after striking out With Dr. Berrio, Victoria Hunter, and Rachel Bernstein, Desiree conspired with and likely paid Dr. Daniel Barber, who works at Memorial Regional Hospital, a state-run facility, to wrongfully commit Demoree to a mental health facility under Florida's Baker Act statute. Desiree and her co-conspirators' plan is sickening. Desiree hired private investigators Stephen Caddy, Jessica Caddy, and James Fondo, all owners of SIG9 LLC, to lure Demoree to a marina in Dania Beach. One of the SIG9 LLC investigators caught Demoree pretending to be a property owner who wanted to hire the Hadley's landscaping company. SIG9 LLC placed a GPS tracker on Demoree's car to follow her movements, a fact that James Fondo later admitted to the police on camera. When Demoree got close to the marina for the business meeting, James Fondo, a former police officer, asked the police to respond on the side of the road near the marina. 2 officers from the Broward County Sheriff's Office arrived at approximately 5:40 p.m. James Fondo told the officers that Dr. Barber, who was waiting at the marina, was going to Baker Act Demoree. It is important to note that James Fondo said, quote, Dr. Barber is going to Baker Act Demoree even before he ever met her. In other words, Dr. Barber has no factual basis to initiate a Baker Act because he had never evaluated Demoree beforehand. At that point, he had not even seen her in person. But since Desiree hired, conspired, and or paid Dr. Barber to commit Demoree under the Baker Act statute, he was going to do exactly just that, no matter the circumstances. When Demoree arrived at the marina, James Fondo, Stephen, and Jessica Caddy, Dr. Barber, and the police confronted her. We've seen that video too in the interview. The SIG9 owners pretended to be part of the unspecified mobile crisis unit that worked with Dr. Barber, which was a lie. Demoree repeatedly told the police that she never met Dr. Barber before, that he was not her doctor, and that her mother conspired with Dr. Barber to Baker Act her. Demoree even called her own doctor, Dr. Berrio, and begged the police to speak with her, but the police refused. The police then forced a young woman to go with 3 complete strangers in a dark gray truck with no hospital, police, or mental health facility insignia on it. Accordingly, Dr. Barber had no right to initiate an involuntary examination under Florida's Baker Act. The intake report even lists Ms. Perez as the primary source relied upon by Dr. Barber to initiate the evaluation under the Baker Act statute. The police never even verified the identity of any of the individuals on scene to confirm they belonged to a mobile crisis unit. They just took the word of 3 fraudsters in a gray pickup truck. Frankly, the BWC footage is disgusting and difficult to watch. Equally disturbing, Dr. Barber wrote on the intake form that he personally examined Demoree on March 27th of 2024 at 5:56 p.m. But his statements is bogus because at 5:56 p.m., BW6 footage shows Dr. Barber leaning against a truck parked in the Maria and talking to police. It is doubtful that any doctor has ever conducted a legitimate psychological evaluation under such circumstances. Dr. Barber's license to practice medicine should be terminated. When Demoree arrived at the Memorial Hospital on March 27th of 2024, the first doctor examined her at 6:21 p.m., noting that she was alert, oriented, 2-person, place and time, and that her behavior was normal. Nurses also noted that Demoree was cooperative and accused Dr. Barber of colluding with her mother, which is consistent with the BCW footage in this case. Reading between the lines, the hospital staff was clearly concerned about Dr. Barber's decision to detain Demoree for involuntary examination and documented her side of the story. Nevertheless, Dr. Barber falsely reported that Demoree required intensive, comprehensive, multimodal treatment, including 24-hour medical supervision, which is something that none of his colleagues at the hospital noted. In the screenshot above, Dr. Barber wrote, quote, if patient refuses to PO, give IM, which essentially means if Demoree refused Benadryl, then force it upon her through a intramuscular injection. Dr. Barber wrote false information in his report to keep Demoree detained and Desiree happy. Dr. Barber even admitted speaking to Desiree on the BWC footage. Important to the issues below, Memorial Regional tested Demoree for drugs on March 27th of 2024, which all came back negative. Nevertheless, Dr. Barber conspired with Desiree to commit Demoree to Life Skills South Florida Outpatient LLC, which is a drug treatment facility where he is the medical director. Life Skills is owned by or affiliated with Odyssey Behavioral Healthcare. On March 29th of 2024, despite Demoree normal behavior and negative drug tests, Desiree filed an emergency ex parte petition under Florida's Marchman Act, claiming that Demoree suffered from drug and alcohol abuse, something that both she and Dr. Barber knew was untrue. Demoree has never done drugs in her life. Desiree specifically requested for Demoree to be transferred from Memorial Hospital to Life Skills so that she and Dr. Barber could continue Demoree's unlawful detention. Perhaps most disturbing, Desiree also moved for guardianship over Demoree on March 29th of 2024, claiming that her 30-year-old highly educated daughter, who never touched an illegal drug in her life, was incapacitated. Desiree blatantly lied in her guardianship petition, claiming that Demoree was asking friends and family to share prescription pain pills. Wow. Desiree listed Liz Fregella as one of the people Demoree supposedly asked for pills, the same Liz who Desiree used during the second fraudulent Baker Act attempt and who was financially indebted to Desiree for saving her company. Demoree has all of her text message conversations with Liz. The message showed that Demoree never asked Liz for illegal drugs or pills. Desiree also listed Melinda Garcia's as a person Demoree sought out for drugs, but when Millie was placed under oath by the state attorney's office, she admitted that Demoree does not do drugs or drink. Millie was the caretaker for Demoree's grandfather and was frequently in Demoree's presence. Minerva also accused Demoree of using drugs. Moreover, Desiree filed the petition on March 29th of 2024. Demoree stopped communicating with her mom long beforehand. Desiree made blatant misrepresentations to court again. Since Desiree concocted a fraudulent ex parte Marchman Act petition, Demoree was transported to Life Skills on March 30th of 2024. While at Life Skills, Demoree repeatedly asked to be examined by someone other than Dr. Barber, but they initially refused. But unbiased professionals began to realize Demoree did not belong there. The staff wrote that Demoree was not delusional, speech is normal, no hallucinations, thought process intact. They also noted Demoree was always positive. Nevertheless, Life Skills required Demoree to undergo treatment for an addiction she did not have. Demoree begged to take a hair follicle test. Eventually, a worker at Life Skills acquiesced on April 3rd of 2024. Not surprisingly, Demoree's hair follicle test, which detects drug use 90 days prior at a minimum, showed no drugs had been in Demoree's system. Life Skills still did not allow her to leave after 2 negative drug tests on April 5th of 2024. While Demoree was at Life Skills, Desiree conspired with others and government officials to get Javon arrested for an alleged battery that occurred on September 11th of 2023. That was another ploy by Desiree and her co-conspirators, because in a meeting in January of 2024, just months earlier, the state told Desiree and her team that no probable cause existed to arrest Javon for the September 11th, 2023 alleged incident. But as reflected in the state's closeout memo, Desiree essentially hired a team to get what she wanted. Despite the frivolity of his arrest as recognized by the state, Javon was initially ordered to stay away from Demoree. Desiree capitalized on Javon's wrongful arrest and was not finished terrorizing the Hadleys. On April 8th of 2024, as Demoree was about to be released from Life Skills, Desiree conspired with others to get Javon false arrested again for allegedly violating the stay away order related to the April 5th, 2024 fraudulent arrest. This was another bogus, even captured on body-worn cameras. That day, Javon responded to his home to feed the cat. Demoree was still in custody under the fraudulent Marchman Act petition, but was set to be released later that day. Desiree's private investigators who were monitoring Javon contacted the police and told them that Javon was at the house. The BWC footage captures officers speaking with their supervisor about this case. The officers admitted the higher-ups directed them to arrest Javon. The nefarious act was also addressed in the state's closeout memo, as you guys can see here. After Desiree caused the police to wrongfully arrest Javon a third time, Demoree was released from Life Skills. Demoree immediately reported to the prosecutors that Desiree was using her power, influence, and money to keep them apart. The state asked Demoree to give a sworn statement in their office on April 26 of 2024. When Demoree arrived, the receptionist instructed her to sit in the waiting room. While awaiting for the prosecutor, Demoree saw Laura Gatz, Esquire, an attorney who supposedly represented the witness in Javon's case, walk in and speak with the receptionist. Laura was really hired by Desiree. Laura asked the receptionist, quote, "Has Demoree Lopez arrived yet? She is supposed to be meeting with the ASA at 9 a.m. Laura did not see Demoree. The receptionist asked Laura who she was. Laura identified herself as Demoree's attorney and witness. The receptionist told Laura that Demoree was inside the waiting room and asked if she wanted to sit with her client. Laura, knowing that she did not represent Demoree, said that she would just wait outside. Demoree believes that her mother instructed Laura to respond to the prosecutor's office to intimidate Demoree. This was the second time that attorneys hired by Desiree falsely claimed that they represented Demoree. Eventually, the prosecutor dropped all charges against Javon and wrote a scathing 11-page closeout memorandum explaining Desiree and her co-conspirators' unlawful and inappropriate actions. Desiree's frivolous lawsuits. On April 22nd of 2024, Desiree filed a frivolous lawsuit against Demoree. In that case, Demoree's mom and stepfather, Desiree's husband, surprised Demoree with a new car on December 2020 which they put in Demoree's name. Desiree claimed that she was the lawful owner of the car, which was false. Title to the car has always been in Demoree's name. Desiree claimed that she has a mutual agreement with Demoree, who was granted use of the vehicle with the understanding that it would not be disposed of without Desiree's permission. The two was false. Desiree claimed Demoree wrongfully asserted control over the vehicle, causing harm to Desiree. A brief reading of the lawsuit shows how low Desiree will stoop to get what she wants. Recently, Desiree filed a separate lawsuit against Javon, claiming that he violated her right to privacy in a home that she does not live in and only entered 3 times in the last 4 years. In fact, Javon and Demoree actually lived in a house that Desiree somehow claimed a right to privacy in. The lawsuit is also frivolous and only intended to harass the Hadleys. Demoree and Javon have spent a large amount of money on lawyers to escape her unlawful detentions and lost out on countless job opportunities. They have suffered economic and non-economic damages from Desiree's acts, and including lost wages, emotional distress, pain, and suffering. The lawsuit follows, and Desiree's conduct must cease. Okay. Count 1, violation of racketeer influence and corrupt organizations Act, RICO. My God, today, y'all, this is a lot. Count 2, civil conspiracy, Florida law, Desiree Perez, ROC Nation, Natalie Anderson. She brings this action against Desiree Perez, ROC Nation, and Natalie Anderson for the state law tort of civil conspiracy. Desiree and Natalie Anderson, both employees of ROC Nation, entered into an agreement to achieve the common goal of convincing a healthcare provider to commit Demoree to a mental health facility under Florida's Baker Act statute, even though Demoree did not meet the criteria. Count 3, civil conspiracy, Florida law, Desiree Perez and the SIG 9 LLC, Daniel Barber, James Fondo, Stephen Candy, Jessica Caddy, baby. Demoree is lining them up, girl. Okay. Count 4, Fourth Amendment violation, Desiree Perez unlawfully detained Demoree, the Baker Act. Count 5, Fourth Amendment violation, Daniel Barber unlawfully detained Demoree. Count 6, Fourth Amendment violation, James Fondo, Stephen Caddy, Jessica Caddy unlawfully detained. 7, Fourth Amendment violation, unknown officers 1 and 2 unlawfully detained Demoree. Count 8, state law false arrestment, imprisonment, SIG 9 LLC, falsely imprisoned Demoree. 9, state law false arrest, imprisonment. 10, state law false arrest, imprisonment, Broward County Sheriff's Office, falsely imprisoned. 11, negligent, South Broward Hospital District. 12, violation of Florida's Marchman Act, Daniel Barber, Odyssey Behavior Healthcare and Life Skills, South Florida. Girl, the counts, they go on and on and on, girl. negligence, odyssey, behavior, healthcare, life skills, violations of the Stored Communications Act, Desiree Perez and ROC Nation, violation of Federal Wiretap Act, violation of Florida Security of Communications Act, intentional infliction of emotional distress, Desiree Perez, Daniel, James, Stephen, and Jessica, fraudulent misrepresentation, inducement, Iconic Creative LLC, fraudulent misrepresentation, inducement, Rachel Bernstein, intentional infliction of emotional distress, Iconic Creative LLC and Rachel Bernstein, negligent, CTS Research Inc., demands a jury by trial, of course. Miss Mama want her coins. Baby, what the hell y'all think? And yes, Desiree has responded. This is a lot. I was thinking this was just going to be a little hour-long update, girl. Baby, this is a lot. There's a lot. And we damn sure not covering all of it in one setting. Thank you, Chief, for the audacity piece. I know I was sent the lawsuits from Desiree to Javon. I'm also going to need time to process everything that I'm reading. I think we're going to come back in a part 2 and get into Desiree's response because she has responded. But before I tie this up, I want to say this. I want to show this. We're going to come back, girl, because all this reading, child, it's a lot on a Monday. It's a lot. It's a lot on a motherfucking Monday, baby. Desiree did respond. We're going to come back in a part 2 to get into the full read. But these were text messages between her and her daughter, allegedly. This is in Desiree's attempts to get the lawsuit dismissed. This is the backdrop to what complaint calls Javon's second fraudulent arrest, where charges weren't pursued because plaintiff would not agree to testify against her attacker, which, to Desiree's point, in the same affidavit, that is saying that the evidence is weak and that there have been false police reports, etc., but that also the daughter was, in fact, non-cooperative. And weeks after the September 11, 2023 attack on October 14th of 2023, plaintiff and Ms. Perez shared the following exchange in which plaintiff threatened, quote, "I rather die than be separated from her abusive boyfriend." Check this out. This is Demoree in gray, and this is Desiree in blue. For my mental health and trauma and PTSD, this is not good for me. He's talking about living with his mom until we move back. I will not allow that. Please, I need you to understand and help. Mental health and trauma, baby? Yes, because if I did nothing wrong, then we should be united, not separated. Please talk to him. I don't want to be apart, period. It's not right. You didn't do anything wrong. It's not right. So then no space from me should be needed. Please tell him no space. No, you never said this, and I swear on my life, I'll never forgive that if you do, and it's evil. I will stop my whole life if you do that. I draw the line there. You would make me so angry and unhappy. I'd rather die. What kind of mom would do that is so wrong, okay? These text messages are kind of cut off. Demoree Perez says, "I'm afraid of what he's going to do to you. I'm concerned for your safety. Let's discuss this not over text. I am concerned for you. I didn't say anything. Why don't you call me? I am scared that something bad is going to happen to you." Demoree says, "I'll call you in a few. Nothing is going to happen to me. What I need for you is to tell Javon not to leave his mom. Is not to leave to his mom's. Either come with me to a hotel or Airbnb if he's not comfortable with Olga, which is her grandmother, but not his mom, because that means we're over and I'm not okay with that. more I'm concerned for you and Nina when she tries to defend you. Why does it have to be over if he goes there? Why? Okay, so I think that Perez is referring to some of the intensity of the arguments and the grandparents having to intervene, and that poses a threat, to the grandparents having to, physically try to get in between them and all this kind of shit. Demoree responded with, if you continue to think that I'm being abused, this conversation won't ever work. I'll stop talking to you for good. Stop it, please. It's so annoying. Okay, so here it is. This is what I want to say. This seems like a situation where everything is true. Demoree has already alley-ooped herself in her own lawsuit by pretty much admitting that there has been abuse. But it's saying that the evidence for that abuse was illegally obtained through secret recording devices, her mama breaking into her iCloud, blah, 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 blah. So prosecutors did not pursue charges, on top of the fact that Demoree obviously is not ready to end her relationship to Javon. Now, so we know that everything that's out right now, the audios and the footage, are not per se AI. They're not per se da-da-da-da-da, because Demoree has acknowledged that there have been incidences, there has been abuse, etc., but that, the evidence of these things were illegally obtained. All right. Now, a lot of things going to be true in this situation. It seems that the mom also has been using and been falsifying things as well, trying to, further escalate her attempt to separate Demoree from Javon. I mean, it seems completely practically true. She laid out her case in her lawsuit. She got excerpts and statements from prosecutors and, police and all this and all of that, that she was, illegally obtained and institutionalized, and that there's been some frivolous stuff regarding Javon's arrest, and he's been falsely arrested, and da-da-da-da-da. So it seems like this mom has made the grave mistake of being overly invested in her daughter's relationship. While that's understandable on an emotional and mental level, the truth also seems to be that the mother being overzealous, the mom allowing her emotions to escalate herself, took wrongful action in trying to quote unquote do the right thing. There is a such thing as going about the right thing the wrong way. And that is what has happened here. The mom has real concern based upon a volatile, toxic relationship where her daughter is being physically abused, emotionally abused. She's having a maternal response to that, which I'm not surprised at, because this is the woman who's also the CEO of ROC Nation. She saw the DV situation escalate between Megan and Tory. So the mom being a woman herself, she knows that her daughter can end up dead behind this foolishness, and she knows that things could get really bad. But she's going about trying to help her daughter in all the wrong ways. Now, the text messages that she presented in her defense to justify, her concern for her daughter not being well, is very interesting, because Demoree also definitely seems to be a woman who is delusionally attached to her boyfriend. She's walking into the punches and shit. She threatened to end her life if her and her dude are not together, and if she doesn't get her mom to acquiesce to what she's trying to get her mom to acquiesce to, which is practically help me to keep this man from leaving me. She's begging her mom for intervention. She's equally bringing her mom into the same relationship that she's suing her mom over being overly invested in. So what it seems that we have here is a toxic situation between three people. You have a daughter who is obsessive in her marriage to her dude, attempt to weaponize her own mother at times against Javon when she needs to control her nigga. Her nigga, seemingly based upon audio and video evidence, is high-tempered, abusive, and don't need to be nobody's goddamn husband and boyfriend. And then the mom is just as emboldened as the daughter, which I can see where Demoree gets it from. She gets it from her goddamn mama, who insists upon her own way at all goddamn costs. Baby, I don't think this lawsuit definitely is going to get dismissed. Having someone falsely institutionalized is a whole thing. And the fact that the mom tried to put fake drug allegations and tried to hire people who never even met with her daughter, who were involved in authorizing drug treatment and static shock treatment, girl, this is some deep shit. I would probably be going a little bit further than the daughter and not just applying pressure civilly. I would be applying pressure criminally. These are things that need to be criminally charged. We should not have our lawmakers, and we should not have police officers, and we should not have doctors and public servants who are utilizing their authority improperly. That is a very, very scary, very scary, scary, very scary stuff here. I definitely can see why Demoree is definitely citing RICO. I don't know whether she's pulling a Cassie, baby, and we about to see a whole goddamn criminal investigation launched upon Desiree Perez, which could happen based upon the state. Just like the state picked up the Tory Lanez, the state picked up the Diddy stuff. The state could definitely pick this up. This could get real bad for Miss Desiree, who apparently already has a criminal history. She's already a convicted felon. She already got that kind of shit brewing in her damn soul, girl. This is some very deep shit. Desiree, girl, I haven't read your full response yet, child, but it seemed like you done fucked up your thing, bitch. You done fucked up your thing. And while your daughter may also be a liar, she protecting her toxic ass dude. She's also a manipulative, and she likes to double dutch just like you do. But the difference is your daughter ain't do nothing illegal. And unfortunately, she has the right to remain in a toxic, abusive relationship if that's what the hell she wants to do. If she don't want to press on charges against that man, she ain't got to. That's her right. If she don't want to leave the relationship, that's unfortunate, but that's her right. But baby, the things that you did in an attempt to save your daughter, in an attempt to put an end to the madness between her and her dude, baby, you went balls to the motherfucking wall, bitch. And once again, might be understandable on an emotional level, on a mental level, but bitch, you done fucked up and got into some things, bitch. Trying to create an exit plan for your daughter, baby. My God, today. This is some deep, nasty work. Of course, this ain't going to help with none of the, conspiracies that already exist around Jay-Z and Roc Nation and all of them, considering all the Tory Lanez crap that's being resurfaced, child. This is a convoluted, hot diggity mess, y'all. Yeah, I don't see Jay-Z's name per se in any of this, but because she's the CEO of Roc Nation, Demoree isn't making any claims right now directly against Jay-Z, but she is holding the company accountable because there are some Roc Nation employees that were conspiring allegedly alongside Miss Perez, and Miss Perez were using, like, I guess some of her Roc Nation emails and putting a lot of this shit together. So rightfully so, Demoree is holding the company accountable. Jay-Z doesn't seemingly have an individual hand right now, but because he's the face and is Jay-Z, of course, he's going to get dragged publicly and all of that because he's the face of the brand, girl. This is a mess. This is a mess. This is a lifetime Tyler Perry. That's why they opened up the lawsuit with, you would have to see it to believe it practically. This is everything that a Tyler Perry movie, a Tyler Perry drama is made out of, a Lifetime drama is made out of. Girl, this is a mess. Bro may be floating in a river if this goes bad, looking up at the roof of the church with the preacher telling the truth. Jaguar Wrong is about to take this conspiracy to, you already know, baby. Baby. Jag about to jag, baby. I told you guys, y'all was out here. Oh, baby, yes, baby. Charlotte about to spin that web, girl. Look, this is a mess. This is some deep, deep shit. This is some messy shit, girl. Y'all, we gonna get into a part 1, part 2. This commentary already been long enough. Girl, we gonna come back, child. We got a lot to get into. It's a lot going on in the world. Bitch, it is a lot going on in the world, y'all. If you enjoyed yourself, run those likes up. Y'all already know what to do. Cash App, $Consciouztv, and or paypal.me/Consciouztv. Follow me on the Patreon. Email me at Consciouztv at gmail.com. Shout out to all the street committee members who've been sending me the screenshots, who've been sending me all of the suits and things, child. We're going to do a part 2 and a part 3. So I will see you guys in a few. I need to replenish. Y'all tell me what the hell y'all think. Share the stream out, child. I love you all. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.